Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be assembling this ATI super damper as well as the Lingenfelter 18% crank pulley. Let's get to it. Alright, so first things first, you have the super damper here and then you have the hub assembly. To begin assembly here, you're going to want to line up, I don't know if you can see that, this little hole here on the face of the damper. So flip this over and the hole is still on the other side there, you'll see. Really hard to see that. And you'll see the same indent on the hub assembly here. And what you want to do is flip this over and match that indent with the one on the damper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip this over here now that we have the hub pushed into the damper here. The next step does say to walk the hub on if it's not fully seated. I don't believe mine is fully seated right now, so I'm going to take two of the shortest bolts, and it's these shorter bolts right here go into these beveled holes, but they go into the outer holes. So there's three here, they're going to go on the outer holes here. So I'm going to start by walking this hub on by putting them on the opposite side so you can walk the hub on evenly, and then you want to tighten them down evenly a couple turns at a time until they're snug. Okay, so it's also worth noting that these flathead bolts, they come in two sizes, the shorter size and the longer size here. They require a special Torx Plus bit, not just a regular Torx bit. So it's definitely worth investing in a kit there. I bought mine off Amazon. Specifically Torx Plus 40 bit for these bolts, and it's also worth mentioning, following these instructions on the damper here, that blue Loctite is required. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on here and start walking the hub on. Like I said, one bolt on each side, and like I said, these bolts do require the Torx Plus 40 bit, so I'm just going to do a couple turns at a time here and just kind of get these to walk the hub on. Okay, so I went ahead and got those two bolts snug. I did a couple turns at a time on each side to walk the hub on evenly. So now that I got the rest of the shorter bolts installed on onto the damper here, we're going to go ahead and torque those down to 16 foot-pounds per the installation instructions on the damper. So we're going to go ahead and grab a torque wrench here and torque those down to 16 foot-pounds. It's also worth mentioning to whenever you tighten these bolts down, to do it in a star pattern similar to a wheel on a car in order to evenly torque down the damper onto the hub. So when we go ahead and torque these, we're going to do the same pattern there. So next comes the AC pulley installation onto the hub here. So we're going to flip over the damper with the hub. And you're going to want to install it downward with this extended part going down into the hub. This is the engine side that's recessed in. So there's 6 holes here, and the holes we're going to use are the 3 smaller holes. So you're going to line those up correctly with the 3 remaining holes on the damper. So at this time we're going to go ahead and flip it all back over now that the AC pulley is loosely installed onto the hub here. Again, make sure the holes, the 3 beveled holes are lined up. And what you're going to want to do now is install the longer flathead bolts into those 3 remaining beveled holes. And per the instructions, again, blue Loctite and 16 foot-pounds of torque, preferably to tighten them in a star pattern again to evenly pull that AC pulley onto them. And once those middle longer bolts are installed, you can go ahead and torque those down to 16 foot-pounds as well, similar to the outer shorter bolts. Okay, so now that those middle bolts are torqued down to 16 foot-pounds, the last part of this installation is installing the Lingenfelter 18% pulley onto the top of the damper here. So the last 3 bolts that you have left in this kit are a 3/8 12-point bolt, and once again, you know, according to the instructions on the actual pulley, they're going to be using blue Loctite as well and torqued down to 28 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and start those by hand. I also wanted to point out that there are little washers. There's 3 washers that come in the kit that go onto these bolts. Slide those on there. We're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on here again. And we're going to hand tighten these for now. And this is a 3/8 socket, so no special bit needed for these bolts. Okay, now that those bolts are seated in there and they're snug, we're going to want to torque this down to 28 foot-pounds like the instructions say. Okay, so that was the last step in assembling the ATI super damper with the Lingenfelter 18% crank pulley. Appreciate you guys watching the video. I would recommend that you read the instructions that come along with your specific kit. Again, this was ordered for my 2013 Camaro ZL1, so most likely it does apply to any GM vehicle with the LSA. But yeah, again, recommend you read your specific instructions. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. There's a lot more content on the way for my car, so make sure you subscribe, comment, like the video. Let me know down below what you thought, and I'll see you in the next video.